In this video, I'll show you a super easy beginner method of growing and propagating sphagnum moss. Firstly, you're going to need a tub to grow the moss inside. This can be as big or as small as you want, but just make sure that it's clear and that it's got a lid. Next, you're obviously going to need some sphagnum moss. It's widely available online as well as in most plant shops and garden centres. The sphagnum moss I've bought is damp to the touch, but if you buy some that's dried or comes in a compressed brick, this method still works just as well, but all you've got to do is rehydrate the moss before starting. Although this moss looks dead, it's actually very much alive and it just needs to be placed in the right conditions and it will start growing. The first thing that I'm doing is sifting through and removing sticks, leaves and roots that are tangled throughout the moss. This won't make it grow faster, but it will make things much easier later on down the line when it comes to using the moss. As you can see, I've pulled out quite a bit of rubbish just from this small patch of sphagnum and it's certainly looking much cleaner. Next, it's time to get the moss inside the tub ready to start growing, and it really couldn't be any more simple. I'm simply placing the moss inside the tub and then using the back of my hand to compress it down in place. Ideally, the sphagnum should be at least a couple centimeters thick. The next thing to do is to give the moss some water. I found this method works best when the moss is really damp, so I'm adding quite a bit of water. Pressing it down helps it disperse through all the moss instead of just the top layers. Although I've added a fair amount of water, you certainly don't want to add too much. When looking underneath, there should be no puddles or pools of water, and if there is, you've likely overwatered. If you have added too much water, don't worry, as there's an easy fix. Simply take out the moss, squeeze out all the water and then go from the start. Now that the moss has been watered, I can place on the lid and then it's ready to start growing. Next is lighting, which is very important, but you have got a couple different options. You can either place the tub under some LED lights like this or in a bright spot in indirect sunlight. Make sure you avoid direct sun as it will overheat and cook the moss. As for other care details, it's good to check up on the moss every week or so just to ensure it's not drying out or facing other problems. So here's how it looks on day one, and here's one that I propagated only a couple months ago. As you can see, it really has sprung to life and it's ready to be used inside terrariums or any other project that you want to use it for. To use the moss in terrariums, I like to pull out small patches, but if you wanted to, you can pull out the entire sheet and plant it straight inside. If you found this video useful, you might want to watch this one next, where I show you how to propagate the most popular terrarium plant, Photonia.